Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning once more to everyone. Ntombuviyo Mente, member of SCOPA, deployed by the EFF. No, the first question is also in relation to what the Chair was seeking to get a clarification on, especially in terms of capacity. I'm going to point you to two reports you have given to SCOPA. 2023 report, it was obviously General Lebeya. 2024 report, now your report today. Now, in the 2024 report, we've got, in terms of the accounting of cases, we've got 18 cases where the National Prosecuting Authority declined to prosecute. And then this one, you have 15, which I think cumulatively, they come from the previous report, some of them. And for me, that's very problematic for the NPA to be telling a specialized unit that there's no grounds to prosecute here. So this talks to exactly what the chairperson was pointing out. That what kind of a capacity refers a case that they are not comfortable and satisfied with, that it can lead to successful prosecution. But yet, yes, it's sent to NPA for decision, even though it doesn't tick all the boxes, with the hope that for some reason it will be conveyor belted to the court roll, and then a judge or a magistrate says, but this is a nonsensical case you brought here. Then it comes back to prosecutors that they fail. Now, at what point do we send such cases? I know you will justify in terms of each case, what were the reasons of there are no grounds to prosecute. There will not be any successful prosecution in each of those cases. The question is, at what point do we send a docket to NPA for prosecution where it does not tick all the boxes? Who monitors such a process and okays it to go through? I'll also tell you why I am worried and fixated on this particular item, is that in South Africa, since the dawn of democracy, we are now on austerity measures. You know, the biggest gap in South Africa is corruption. Money flows through corruption. And you know the worst pain? No one gets arrested. So our hope is that once the SIU says, gets a proclamation, we then have a hope, and then they come here to say, we see something, we can hold on to something here. Then they refer a docket to you, and you send it to NPA. Before we hammer the NPA, it comes back to say there are no grounds. So what is the process that you undertake once the NPA says there's no grounds? Yet the SIU is saying, take this case, there's something here. Money has vanished. We can point to people who have stolen it. We can point to items that have been purchased with it. We can point to accounts that indicate a crime where money was flowing from this account to the next account, so do your part. The second one, Chair, is the cases that are under investigation. Yes, I get the capacity in terms of investigators. You know, Chair, over and above the DPCI not having enough capacity in terms of general investigators, the progression in the SAPS is rather also unfortunate. So that is why the DPCI will not have an extraordinary eye to also poach from the detectives at a police level, police station level, in terms of commercial crimes, because I think it's the issue of regulations, where everyone is at a lowest rank, not easily picked up, not easily shine, to a point where such units can start taking very progressive detectives from police station level to push new recruits in so that they can go and close the space. However, we have universities which I believe produce the prerequisite skills now. And the question becomes, what's your relationship with universities in order for you to capture those that have that skill from the level of universities, to such an extent of maybe some of the colleges that may produce some of the required skills on your unit. Then the last one will be, there's this one case which is, it was in your last report and it's still in your report now. It was finalized, but a person was found not guilty. I'm interested to know what was this case and why was the person not found guilty. It doesn't have amounts attached to it, but the fact that it went through from SIU to yourself to NPA, went in front of the magistrate or maybe a judge, but the person was found not guilty. It's related to what my colleague was asking. The judge will then say the NPA botched the case, but it went all the way through, gone there as a certified case, that there's something to answer. Yet a person walked, or people walked. Well, I would like to know, what was that case about? Thank you.
Honorable Chair and members, maybe let me start with the last one, about the figures, because I can see that it could mislead. The difficult aspect about cases that we take for decision to the NPA is that three types of actions sometimes come out of it. The first one is that the case docket might come back with further investigation that they have identified as requiring additional investigation. The second thing is that they might decide to prosecute on it. And obviously the third one is that they might decline not to prosecute. But the problem with the figures is that it's a living type of number that constantly change, because that 96 would have been as it was when we compiled the presentation. It might have been that 20 of those have already come back yesterday or today, and 20 others or 10 others have gone back. So it is difficult if we come back and we say 86 is now the figure. It might not necessarily mean it's that 86 from that original 96, because that numbers that we take for decision is constantly a changing numbers. I send to her, she brings back, we bring new ones. So that figure is a bit difficult to follow. But then my colleague will answer the question from the honorable members. Thank you.
Sorry, can I ask before you move on? There still has to be a sense of progress, right?
Yes.
In the net result. So I understand that what had been referred back might then get sent up again and is prosecutable. But it's got to be possible to track that. Otherwise, then it means we will never know, right? And if you're not currently tracking that, basically compiling the information in that way, I'd like you to, for next time, please do that. right? Because it just assists us to know whether there has been progress or not. Because also new matters get enrolled and then they get, you know what I mean? Then it means sitting here, we actually just don't know whether those specific matters that had been referred were subsequently, you know, they met the standard for prosecution later on. The question I'd also like to ask the NPA for when we get to you, because it applies to we've asked it in the case of the DPCI, and that is even the prosecutors themselves, given the type, because we're talking commercial crimes here, because there is a possibility that even the person who has to make a decision about whether a case is prosecutable or not, in and of themselves also don't know. So you've got a double whammy where both people are at sea about the case they're investigating and making prosecutorial decisions on. So just, we need to deal with that when we get to.
Thank you, Chair. Now, Advocate Batoy is mentioning the work of the ACTT. I thought she was going to continue explaining to us what happened to that ACTT, which used to come and give us monthly reports. But in addition to the question which is being explained, I'm going to make an example now. You said there's about 500 new recruits you are going to look for, 300 internal, 200 external. I'm already seeing a danger because, yes, you're going to do 300 internal, and that internal is going to upgrade all your entry level that are dealing with the collection of data, compiling of documentation, looking for whatever information that's not very serious. And you're going to take 300 people from that space to the top. You're going to leave 300 spaces open, which is going to take another process to fill it up. That talks to the systems that are not in sync. You don't know how to fill, where you're going to be filling that gap from. It's not coming from college. Hence, I was asking, is there a relationship you have with universities or institutions that are producing the skill we are looking for, so that you can quickly fill in that 300 you're going to lose. The 200 that's going external is fine. It's people that are looking for jobs, good thing, who are welcoming it. But the 300 internally is going to create much more chaos for your prioritization, because you're not going to have the person who's collecting information from the ground. And the last one was on what you were responding in terms of the cases how you are prioritizing. I want to give you an example. You have Department of Health that the case is above 1 billion in terms of the amount you are investigating. It's 89 cases. We don't know how much each case has, but cumulatively it's above 1 billion. You have cases in court. It's 50 cases, and then 49 is still under investigation. You know what is happening now? Clinics, hospitals, and everyone, corruption is taking place because these 89 people are not being prosecuted. We have heard about someone being arrested somewhere, briefly appeared, then was gone. Then the others are continuing. By next year, this time when you get here, we may be finding 2 billion in the space of health. But more than that, people are dead because it looks like nothing is happening. So we need to understand your prioritization so that we are able to even say, Chair, in a social cluster where a basic service delivery is affected, we can't leave this space open. It has to be prioritized. I'm just making an example with health. If you don't find a certain machine in a clinic where a tenderpreneur was supposed to have procured an equipment and procured a substandard, now an operation can't take place in a theater because the equipment is not up to standard, that person dies. And then when the case gets to DPCI, it's not prioritized because of whatever. That we don't know. That's exactly what the Chair and Honorable Matuan are asking. How are we getting to a point of saying we look at the importance of the case to make sure we nip every corrupt element in the bud and not open a room for it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. It is indeed true that in the 300, there is a possibility that we would promote people who are inside the system. That is correct. There was a question, Chair, that was asked about the universities, the relationship that we have with the university. We do have a relationship with the universities. The team that I spoke of earlier from our forensic accounting goes and do some career expo or similar thing at universities to attract the young interested, the student that might be interested. The honorable member spoke of how do we prioritize. I'm not sure that the ACTT approach that my colleague tried to explain was understood. What happens is that in the NPCOC, which took over from the ACTT, because the ACTT was only focused on corruption. Now the NPCOC has broadened the scope. It now includes organized crime, it includes corruption, it includes serious commercial crime, the NPCOC. In that committee, SIU sits there, the NPA sits there, ourselves, and the SAPS sit there. We then look at the cases, and collectively, we decided we will prioritize the following. It is a monthly process that we report to, and then the criteria is similar to what was at the ACTT, where we were looking at public interest, where we were looking at the amount involved, where we were looking at the complexity of the matter, where we would look at the impact that a specific case, if we were to have a takedown on it, will have. So we then, once we've prioritized it, it then comes to the way that General Makinyane was explaining, that we then form a team that will ensure that at least these specific ones that we have prioritized and we account monthly on are expedited. The last aspect that I thought it is important also to mention is that we do not leave any case behind, but those that we say we are prioritizing, we then put more resources to them. Meaning that you might find that the one case is still investigated by a single investigator. But those that we say in the NPCOC that these are priority, we then put a team on, but all of them, whether they are in the team approach or single investigator, they will still be guided by the prosecutor. I hope you got that. Thank you.
All right.
Chair, maybe to touch, I think there was a question on the matter that was found not guilty, and then there was a the honourable member wanted to know what case. It is a case that involves employees of the department, the teachers of education in Limpopo, who then applied to the department for the scholar transport issues. It's just that now the details of why they were found not guilty, having been charged, is that what we are trying to get to those, because it can be either a technicality when there was evidence, but we are trying to get that maybe before the round of questions is finalized, we can have those details to respond. Thank you, Chair.